going on YouTube? We are now in Boston Pizza, and pretty much we are touring the Westminster Mall today. We're gonna test out the new lens as well, 16 to 35 f4, and let me know what you think of it. We're gonna take a video, me just walking around, and hopefully it's stable enough. It's better than the last video that we've taken. Let me know what you think as well with the mic. Hopefully it is better this time. I'm still using the native mic. I'm not using an external mic, just the camera here. So here we go. Now normally I'm a Canon user, but okay, Sony fanboys, I'm gonna tell you right now that Sony is nice to shoot with, okay? It's very handy, it's very easy to use, especially the ZV-E1. The 16 to 35 is very handy to use as well. The f4 I don't mind so much. It's still very nice. You could see here we're using the 35mm close up to it, and it still has beautiful bokeh on the back. Full frame as well. Such a small device with a handle made by Sony. It just works buttery smooth. Like, there's nothing better than bringing a camera with you all the time, and you could just pull it out, take off the lens cap, and pretty much start shooting without any problems whatsoever. And it has nice stabilization as well. Sony has, compared to Lumix still better, but having that stave on the IBIS as well on the ZV-E1 helps a lot, and I don't mind it at all. The lens even has the optical stabilization as well, which I find is really well built. Now I'm also impressed with the features that the lens 16-35 power zoom has. The stabilization on it, like I mentioned earlier, is really awesome, and it has this button on the bottom that you can program either for focusing or also for shooting and recording videos. There's also the power zoom on the side here. On the other side is the iris lock, which locks or unlocks your aperture ring. So for example, you are shooting around, I usually keep it on automatic and I want to change it on my screen, but you can use the ring to adjust it, or you can lock it as well on the automatic, like I keep saying earlier. Now the other option is also using the normal zoom range here and an extra ring if you want to change something else like an ISO. That's a lot of features that you can have with pretty much this is the only lens I've seen with all those features, especially the button and the power zoom. Very handy to have. Ellie! Hello, baby! Now we're just gonna do a little bit of a test here. We're just walking around and we're just gonna look at the stabilization of the lens and also the IBIS built in on the ZV-E1 on the Sony there. And let me know what you think down below, if it's any good or not. I personally think I was reviewing this video and I think it's really good, like to be honest. This is the Bourbon Street at Westminster Mall. I mentioned earlier for the Lumix stabilization compared to Sony, the Lumix still is better, but guess what? On the ZV-E1, you don't get a lot of waves on the corner, like the breathing is compensated here. I have it turned on the ZV-E1, so that's really good. So it doesn't have that little like jitter or bounce every time you do a little bit of a movement here, which is really good to have, especially just following my daughter here coming here. And Ellie is just fast, you know, she's very excited on like going around the mall. So pretty much we're just going down little ramps here, and I don't have any issues with the stabilization at all. Pretty impressed by it. Good job Sony for improving that over time. And of course, not to mention that Sony has the best autofocus in the market. As you could see here, it's able to see, and it didn't lose focus at all during this process. Again, I'm not even like doing my best to point at her. I'm just kind of ballpark pointing at her, which is really good. Good job Sony on the autofocus as well. Now if you are gonna buy a ZV-E1, make sure that you're using a full frame lens because of the crop factor after it's all stabilized and the breathing compensation as well. Now let's move on to photography. I was able to shoot some pictures while we are in Boston Pizza, and pretty much I'm not really happy with how it turned out. With the Sony, I find like I think I understand now why all Sony shots are like has to be dark, or else if you push it to the limits of like the higher, it'll be so grainy, and it's not very good looking for for a shot. So I understand how it works now. But that's the thing with this is shooting with the Canon with the 45 megapixel is way easier to edit. You can push the colors to the limit, especially even in video. I find that the Sony have a lot of trouble with if you're pushing the hues and also the tint in multiple ways, and I find that it's very limiting that way. But for the most part, if you are a basic vlogger, you won't be doing on any color grading anyway. So I wouldn't mind it for that. And like I said, the most important part, stabilization and autofocus for vlogging. The other things is more for professional color grading and all that stuff. But it still would be nice for Sony to push the limits on their videos so that you'll be able to practice color grading when you are, if you were to move on later on in a professional color grading. And that concludes the night, everyone. Thanks for watching. I hope I was able to help you, and subscribe to the channel, right, Nick?
Yeah.
Hit the like, and see you guys next time. Peace.